Hi, I'm Alessandro, and I'm going to give you a full walkthrough of Janus, a flashcard generator for power uses of Anki and Mochi. So whether or not this is your first time making flashcards with Janus, or you've done it before, I hope you're going to learn a lot in this video. So about a month ago, I wanted to commit to memory a particular topic, a new topic in computer science. So I wrote notes on it, I put those notes through Janus, made me flashcards, I started rehearsing them, and I've now committed them to memory. And what I want to do is I want to go through the motions of that again with you, and hopefully you'll be able to extend this to whatever you're studying. So by the end of this video, you should understand how to make cards with Janus, how to make them fast, and also how to personalize the cards that are being generated to your particular learning style. So let's get straight into it. Okie dokie, so we're now here in Janus. We're in our inbox, and we currently have no decks or cards that we need to review. So let's go ahead and actually upload that content. So I click Create New Deck. We're going to be uploading some notes I wrote in Obsidian. So it's a form of text. Okay, let me copy and paste. Okay, copy and paste the text. You can see a preview of it. So I'm going to upload this. We have to give, this document gets uploaded into a notebook, so we have to give it a name. Canonical, oh gosh, mouthful. Cool. And we can either upload only, or we can generate. I'm going to show you the fast and direct path for making flashcards. I'll show you later what it means to upload only and kind of the path there. So you then have an opportunity to add in a prompt for how you want the cards to be formatted, what card types you want, what should be selected from the document, etc. We're just going to trust the defaults. I'm going to click Make Flashcards. Okay, cool. So the deck has been made. And the first thing you should see here is that on the left we have highlights, and on the right we have cards. And this is basically the mental model you should have when using Janus. So it's a two-step process. The first step is that a document gets split up into sections or highlights. And then step two is that those highlights are all turned into flashcards. So you get flashcards for each of those highlights. For each of the highlights gets a tile, so it's just a little easier for you to review. So you can see the text basically split up the text into 4 highlights, and across those 4 highlights, 16 flashcards. It first asks us what is the definition, alternative name, and you can kind of associate, very quick to review the cards because you can associate the cards with the text that it originated from. And you see this is kind of exactly how I would be making flashcards from if I had done this manually. Like I would have looked at my notes, I'd be like, okay, first question, what is canonicalization? Answer, selecting the representative URL to deliver a particular piece of content. What is an alternative name for it? Deduplication. So it kind of does all the manual work for you if you have got good text to use. You'll also notice that we've got 2 card types here. We've got a Q&A card and then a cloze deletion card, or fill in the blank. And the one that gets used depends on Janus tries to select the most appropriate card type. So where it's like one thing that you're being tested on, like one fact is very obvious, tries to use a Q&A card for it. If it's a list, it actually prefers to use cloze deletions. And you're able to, through prompting and customization, which I'll show you, you're able to say how you want the cards formatted or what card types you want. From this view here, I'm actually able to edit the cards, delete the cards, and also add new cards. You can even ask Janus to make you more cards, for example, with a prompt on just that one highlight. You can ask it to improve just that one highlight. Yeah, and then like the way I kind of review them, I go highlight by highlight until I'm happy with everything. So I kind of look, am I happy with this? Yes. Happy with all these? Yes. Am I happy with these? Give an example. That's a bit complicated. I'm gonna asking me to give an example is not in general not the best, because I may in like a month's time give a different example, and so it's not going to be what's on the other side of this card. But it's really a matter of taste whether or not you want to have that. So I'm going to delete it, for example, and move on. Cool. Okay. And then when you're done, you go to export cards, and you can select which flashcard, which like rehearsal app, space repetition app you want to export to. At the moment, I just support Anki and Mochi. I will hope to support SuperMemo, Quizlet, Nemazine in the future as well. So the Anki support, you basically can either download a deck as a package file and then import it, or you can set up or reuse the Anki Connect plugin. It's a little bit more involved, but it allows you to actually import directly into a deck, which is quite nice. Or in Mochi, it's very much like the Anki Connect support. You can actually select which particular deck you want to import it into. I'm going to do this as a package, and we'll call this, I don't know, search engine canonicalization. Okay, and you can see I've exported it. Goes into my downloads, and now the deck has disappeared from this our inbox. It's actually moved to the archive section. This has all the decks that have already been exported. So this kind of acts as quite a nice triage system. You put content in, forget about it, later on review the cards that have been created, and then export. I also want to show you what happened when we asked Janus to make flashcards. Where did the document go? Can I see the document and the cards together? The answer is yes. Here on the left, you have basically all the documents that you uploaded, and we had given a name to each of these documents, or rather to the notebook. And so if I go to, say, canonicalization, we can actually open that notebook, see on the left-hand side the document that was uploaded, and the highlights that were made on top of it. What's cool about Janus is that you're actually able to upload a document, read it in Janus, and make new highlights directly on the content, for example. So just to demonstrate this, maybe I'm going to delete all the cards we currently have and all the highlights. And I could do something like, I don't know, I could say I just want to make cards on this section here. I can highlight it. I can then click generate, given a prompt, or in the review section, I can click generate here. Cool. So you can see here that it generated the cards for this particular highlight, and it made a cloze deletion card to represent the list of different cases in which you may need to canonicalize a piece of content. And then it gave kind of asked you to give an explanation or kind of the subheading for each of these. So that's great. Okay, I now want to show you how once you're in the notebook view, you can still make flashcards and actually have quite a lot of control over the process. So if you upload a document, it would basically appear here on the left. And on the right are the same controls that we had earlier when we decided to click generate. So I can actually put in as a prompt here particular instructions for what I want highlighted, which is very useful if you've got a very, very long document. And also how I want the cards formatted. You can also create a prompt, save it, and reuse it. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. So I can go here, and I wrote a prompt called Obsidian Notes. So if I actually click Manage Prompts, we can have a look at it here. So basically, I put in my prompt. I said kind of where, like the structure of these notes. Well, there are kind of an outline of some thoughts I had. I wrote them in my Obsidian Vault. I kind of want factual information to be very, very direct questions. Sometimes they should, like, if it's suitable to test also the reverse side, i.e. not asking question answer, but answer question or a variation of that, I'll ask it to do the reverse test too. For conceptual information, I asked them to break it down even more. For quotes, I asked them to segment the quote into multiple deletions, contiguous deletions. And I give an example for how I like that done. Yeah, and so it's also applied to a particular mode. So the highlighter mode is basically the steps 1 and 2 of Janus. The writer mode is if you were to click one highlight and ask it to make flashcards, that's the card writer. And the edit command, I'll show you that later, but that's where you want to make a tweak to an existing card. So here, basically, we can create prompts and then make them only relevant to particular parts of the pipelines. So if I go back here and I select Obsidian Notes, basically loads in my prompt that I can reuse. I can click Make Flashcards. Runs the exact same process that we did earlier, except that I'm also able to see the highlights. Afterwards, you can see where what we have here on the left is the document slowly gets populated with highlights. Now, a blue highlight is a suggested highlight that has not yet been saved. If we were to say save it, you'll notice that it goes green. And this basically means that a green highlight is a saved highlight with flashcards. If I were to go to that highlight, if I were to delete all these cards, it turns yellow. So yellow is a saved highlight without any flashcards. And you can basically review the highlights and the flashcards here, save all, etc. Yeah, I'll also say that there's a propose mode where it creates new highlights for you. There's also a select mode. So say you read a document on the left, you highlight certain sections, and you say for all these sections that I've highlighted that don't yet have flashcards, please make flashcards for it. That is what the select feature does. And it can be used if you, say you were to read the document on the left and manually highlight it. That could be a case where you could have many highlights that don't have flashcards. Equally, if you use an integration or you import highlights for a document, say using uploading your Kindle highlights through Readwise into Janus, you'll have the document. It'll be pre-populated with the highlights that you've already made in the past, but there won't be any flashcards. You can call select on that. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you is the edit commands. So an edit command is essentially a prompt, a save prompt, just like I showed you beforehand. However, it can be applied to edit a particular card. AI isn't perfect. It makes mistakes. Sometimes it doesn't quite do it exactly the way you want to. However, I have found that sometimes the mistakes it does do are kind of predictable. They kind of fall into the same class of problem. And that if I just by having a prompt that kind of corrects that one type of mistake, I'm able to really quickly fix the errors and turn basically a deck which is kind of 70, 80% to my liking to one which is 100% very quickly. So for example, here, it asked me a question, what are the 2 factors that determine which page a search engine presents when canonical, non-canonical versions exist? And it's basically user preferences or site preferences. That's a list of 2. For lists, I actually prefer these not to be a Q&A card. I prefer them to be a cloze deletion card. And so I've got a prompt that literally just says, turn this Q&A card into a cloze deletion card. And so I can run it on this card. I can continue to review and it will kind of run in the background. And when it's done, the alt card gets replaced or deleted. And in its place, a new card, you can see the new card. And because this is new, it's in a green box. Thank you so much for watching. I want to make 2 quick notes before we end. The first one is, how are you charged in Janus? So we've got a credit system in place. Basically, every time you request to make flashcards or request for highlights to be made and for flashcards to be made on each highlight, you are billed. And credits are consumed. It's roughly 1 credit per highlight, and a highlight corresponds to about 3 flashcards. So if you spend 100 credits, hopefully you've gotten 300 flashcards. We're working towards a subscription model. So instead of paying as you go, you'll be able to pay for the month and get a quota of credits. And also, hopefully, we're going to allow you to select which model you want to run, potentially cheaper models, potentially more expensive models, and even free models. And the second note is that Janus is a work in progress. If you have any positive feedback or negative feedback, I would love to hear it. I would love to understand better how Janus can be tuned to your workflows, what new features we need to add, what improvements need to be added, what bugs there are that we need squashing. I've also attached in the description, I've added a link to our Discord so that you can join other flashcard users, share tips and prompts, and also, like I said, steer the direction of the project. So again, thank you so much for watching, and happy flashcard making.